Hey, good morning, Math 2 students. Mr. Lundblad here, ready to talk about today's lesson. We're on lesson 9.3 in our book, okay? This is a pretty simple one. We're only doing 1 through 12 today. It shouldn't take you too much time. There's basically only 2 steps to each one of these problems. What we're doing today is we're trying to figure out how many miles per gallon and how many miles are driven so that we can tell how efficient is our vehicle. All right, when we're talking about using a vehicle, it's really important that you figure out how many miles per gallon that vehicle will use and makes it very economically friendly. So you typically would like to have a car that has a mile per gallon ratio of about 30 miles per gallon. That'll help you out a lot. Now, some will be less and some will be more. If you get in that 25 to 35 mile per gallon range when you're out on the highway, that's pretty good. So in order to do that, what they've done is they put a grid on. If you're on page 174 in your book, they've given us this grid. And you're only doing 1 through 12. You're doing the top table today. Okay? So we have the first odometer reading. And then we have the second odometer reading. Okay? This tells us how many total miles have been put onto the car. Notice that the first one is a smaller number than the second one. Okay? So basically, we're kind of going to do this a little bit backwards, but that's the way you would have to do it if you were trying to figure it yourself anyway. You'd have to write down the initial odometer reading, how many miles, total miles the car had already had put on it. Okay? And then later on, after you got done driving, you'd have to write down your ending miles, okay? So what happens is that we're going to take the second odometer reading and subtract the first one from it, okay? So the problem really ends up being, let me put it in a spot that we can all see here. I'm going to erase the rest of this over here because I'm just going to practice the first problem with you, and then I think you can get the rest of them on your own. Okay, so basically we're going to take the second reading and put that down first, and then subtract the first reading. Okay, so then if you got your calculator, you can use your calculator to do that. So we get 2,566 minus 2,367. Okay, and when I do that, my calculator reads 199. So that's my answer to my first problem. Number 1, miles driven is 199. So the first problem is a subtraction problem. Okay? Now, the next problem is a division problem. We take the answer for number 1 and divide it by the amount of gallons used, and that tells me how many miles per gallon. I can see right now this is not going to be very good for this car. Maybe they did a lot of city driving. So we take the 199 and then divide by the number of gallons. Okay? Once again, they're telling you to round, okay, to the nearest mile per gallon. Okay? So my answer got to be kind of messy, but I'm going to round to the nearest mile per gallon because that means I'm going to get rid of all my decimals. So my answer ended up being like 18.09 and a whole bunch of other numbers. The only number I've got to be concerned with is that number right behind the decimal. Is it 5 or more? Then that will round that number up. If it's 4 or less, it stays the same. And in this situation, it's 4 or less. So my miles per gallon will then be 18 miles per gallon. And that's it. Okay? We subtract the first 2 numbers, and then that answer and the gallons we divide. And that's how you do each one of those problems. Should take you about 5 to 10 minutes if you're moving right along, okay? Submit it on a Google form and then hand it in to me, okay? Tomorrow we'll discuss the second half and how to do that when we're starting to talk about cost per gallon of the gas. All right? Okay. Watch it again if you need to go back through. But that's it for today. Really short and sweet. Hope to see all 3 of you tomorrow when we meet together for English class on the Zoom meeting. And remember, our meeting will be at 11 o'clock for that one. Okay? All right. Talk to you later. Bye.